Our next team or a group of girls going to come are going to be Elizabeth, Lexi, and Nicola. Please welcome.
And it's all about vitamin supplements. Controversial, I know. But it's all about why they're unnecessary and why we should focus on healthy diets. I'll give it over to Elsa to introduce.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elizabeth, and it's a privilege to be here with you all for the esSENSE Seminar 2019. We are students from Springwood High School, and today we'll be presenting to you on the topic of whether or not vitamin supplements are necessary to maintain a healthy lifestyle. But firstly, I'd like to introduce you to my two colleagues, Nicola, who will be your main speaker, and Alexandra, who will present the vote of thanks. Nicola is well placed to speak on this topic because alongside her studies, she works part-time in a pharmacy, where day by day, she is in a position where she has to sell what she considers to be unnecessary vitamin supplements. So, should we really consider artificial supplements to be of a higher value than a healthy, authentic diet? We say no. Nicola will deliver the findings of a professional medical study and will explain how these findings support our own opinions on the matter. We felt this topic was relevant to today's society because we're living in a hectic world where everyone wants a quick fix. Whether by the click of a button or the swipe of a screen, our fast-paced lifestyle is encouraging impatience to the point where we're choosing artificial supplements over food that's healthy and authentic. Therefore today, we want to convey a message about how we can all play an active role in changing the way we see this issue. I hope our presentation leaves you with either a new knowledge or a further developed knowledge on the benefits of natural vitamins over supplements. I'll now pass you over to Nicola, who will talk in more detail on the topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that fine introduction, and good evening, everyone. My name is Hominem'19, and I will be your speaker this evening. I will be speaking on the topic of whether vitamin supplements are really necessary, which Elizabeth introduced you to. I will be speaking from the viewpoint that they are not necessary, and will explain my reasons why. However, I would like to begin with a definition of what a vitamin actually is. A vitamin is an organic molecule, which is an essential micronutrient that one needs in small quantities in order for metabolism to be able to function. It is our position that these essential nutrients cannot be manufactured and therefore should be obtained solely through a healthy, balanced diet. As my colleague aforementioned, we live in a modern society with a constantly hectic schedule where there is never enough time to do everything that we want to do. There's always places to be, people to see, work to be done, and consequently we search for faster, snappier alternatives. These snappier alternatives, though, are unbeneficial quick fixes. These supplements are often made artificially in an industrial process and come in the forms of capsules, tablets, powders, and liquids, and are made to replicate the way natural vitamins act within our bodies. Now, I would like to see a show of hands as to anyone here who has ever taken a supplement before. Just as we thought. And this is why we would like to encourage you to consider the following research. A Canadian study, which was published in the peer-reviewed journal of the American College of Cardiology, cited a systematic review that looked at the role of vitamin and mineral supplements for the prevention and treatment of heart-related illnesses. The researchers pooled the existing results of 179 individual studies and focused on the separate effects of specific vitamin and mineral supplements, such as vitamin C, D, E, calcium, zinc, and magnesium. They then examined whether any of these supplements had an impact on the following 3 outcomes: death from any cause, death due to cardiovascular disease, and finally, risk of cardiovascular disease, such as heart attack or stroke. This study presented 3 solid ends. It emphasized how artificial vitamins are not a necessity for relatively young and generally healthy people. And it found that the most commonly used supplements had no direct benefit for the prevention of all 3 medical issues. And finally, it highlighted how supplements do not additionally benefit the healthy general population. The key point is that the best way to obtain these vitamins and minerals is through foods, where they are best absorbed and have the optimal biological ratios. However, that's not to say that some subgroups of the population do not benefit from these supplements. There is enough evidence to support subgroups such as infants, pregnant women, and older individuals taking these supplements, which will have a certain benefit. So, perhaps there is a bigger question we have to ask. Why do pharmacies offer an exorbitant amount of these supplements when there is such little evidence to support them? Well, because hype is being mixed with evidence. Individuals are absolutely bombarded with advertisements and promotions of these supplements. In supermarkets and drugstores, there are rows and rows of them, to the point where consumers are overwhelmed by these products. It is a lucrative market for pharmacies and a moral battle for those that are required to sell something that they don't believe in. Of course, it can be argued that the population, as a majority, is not healthy. But should that be fixed by artificial vitamins? No. Instead of promoting artificial vitamins and minerals, we should be promoting healthy diets and meals that contain all the vitamins and minerals we need, especially in schools, where we can make an impact on future generations. This brings my speech to a close, and I would like to leave you with the statistic that 1 in 6 children in London live in poverty, increasing the likelihood of them opting for alternatives to nutritious, healthy meals. By employing this mindset of sourcing whole foods rather than running to the nearest pharmacy early on in their lives, it is possible to reduce the hype and extravagance surrounding supplements and separate the fact from fiction. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd now like to invite any member of the audience to ask a question to our main speaker.
Well, you could consider protein powders a supplement of sorts, but they're more commonly used by athletes, people who want to gain extra protein outside of the normal diet in order to build muscle and compete. But for a regular average person, I don't think protein powder should be necessary. We should be able to obtain that from other foods. It doesn't even have to be meat. You can find protein in beans, legumes, that kind of thing. And protein powder is too expensive as well. So, thank you for your question.
Vitamin D, because we live in UK and we don't get much sunlight, so doctors are generally advised to use vitamin D. That's the only source to get vitamin D because we don't get much sunlight.
Yes.
Did you do any research on that?
I haven't actually focused that much on vitamin D, but that is interesting, as with our complexion, we are expected to take vitamin D supplements to make up for the lack of sunlight. I think that's more something a doctor, if you feel that you are deficient in a vitamin, that's something you should see a doctor about, and then they can recommend the correct vitamins you should be taking. rather than kind of nipping along to the pharmacy and then taking your kind of pick of the vitamin selection and almost diagnosing yourself. Thanks for your question.
Okay, thank you.
There are a lot of evidence actually suggests that the people they have the melanin, especially for the South Asian community,
Yeah.
to take the vitamin D, comparing to the white people, they have the less melanin. So there are, yeah. Yep. But the Asian community, melanin, because of the melanin, they cannot. Yeah, that's right.
Anyone else has any questions?
Should not go and take. But if the person is actually recommended by a doctor, for example, my doctor recommended me for vitamin D because I'm having Crohn's, because Crohn's is deficient in vitamin D. Even I was in India, Kerala, still I'm having vitamin D because I don't get it because of my disease. So that's recommended by the doctor. That's fine. But her point is very valid. A healthy person should not go to the pharmacy and get the vitamins. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, all members of the audience, for asking your question, and thank you for answering them, Nicola. It's now my pleasure to pass you over to Alexandra, who will present the vote of thanks.
Good evening. Thank you, Nicola, for that compelling speech. Firstly, I would like to remind you what my colleagues have said, which is that for most people in our population, vitamin supplements are necessary, but there are some subgroups that do need vitamins. Nicola required a show of hands as to who had ever taken a vitamin supplement before, and we saw exactly what we expected, a sea of hands. However, as my colleagues have said, this is not necessary. We would like to thank esSENSE for having us today and all of you for listening to our points. Now please, could you show your appreciation for Nicola? Now, just to remind you, when we say vitamins, we don't mean vitamin B for biscuits, C for cake, and D for donuts. Thank you.
It's now time to close the proceedings for our Springwood team. Nicola's speech has resonated with me because it has made me think about how the fast pace of life shouldn't encourage me to take synthetic products. Now, I hope when you get home, you'll take a look at your vitamin C pills in the cupboard and over at the oranges in the fruit bowl, and you'll know which one's better. Thank you all for coming this evening to come to the conference. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the closing of our first session because all three of our youth members have completed their talk. A huge applaud I would like to give to them, all of them. I would like to invite Jovial to the stage and Manas to the stage. Please, thank you. We are going to give a small token of appreciation to these young kids. Obviously, I would like to welcome Dr. Sunil P. Ledam to the stage to honor them with a small token of gift. Thank you. Nicola, Lexi, and Elizabeth, obviously, pink flowers for girls together. You can receive. And a token of appreciation for you three. Thank you very much for coming all the way along, and all the best. Thank you. And Manas, it was a long, really detailed briefing to us, and thank you very much indeed. Wishing you all the best in your literary work and in your journey as a young man. Be focused. I'm sure you will succeed. Manas, thank you. Jovial, you're the youngest actually, so we should give a further applause to this young man. I'm sure one thing I notice is I work in a research field, and there is something called a research coffee network or something in Guys and sometimes every once a month in an afternoon. So basically, if you would like to do research on a hypothesis, you can come to it's called research clinic. Sorry. So there will be about 10 tables with different experts. And you'll be surprised, one group of people will get most attention. They are the statisticians. Because you can have as much as hypothesis, as much as clinical experience, as much as knowledge in your pharmaceutical or pharmacology or biologics or whatever the field you have. One place you will stuck would be the statistics. They will have to tell you the power of your research, how many patients you will require, how many randomizations you would have to do. These are the guys going to say. I wish you all the best, and thank you very much indeed to show the courage to be here. Wishing you all the best. Thank you. Jovial, thank you. Thank you.